Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am reviewing, after quite a few miles, quite a while of having them on my trike, I'm finally going to give the Tannus solid rubber tires a full review. I have them on all three wheels. As you know, if you've been watching my vlog for a while, I had some complications with them. One of the Tannus solid rubber never flat tires was actually flat. There was a manufacturing defect in it, I guess. There was no loft in it. And I called Tannus America, and they hooked me up with a local shop that actually the shop that builds the wheelchair bikes, the Velo chairs, which are really cool. They sent me over there, and he swapped out the tires for me for free. And then while I was on a bike trip with my wife, the rear tire popped right off of the rim, and it actually damaged my derailleur. So I called Tannus, and when I got back from the trip, he sent me to the same shop where he took the tire off, inspected it, and determined that even though I was using the largest peg that Tannus sent me, I needed a larger peg. So he swapped out the pegs with larger pegs, and on that one I haven't had a problem since. The same issue happened while I was at the Mermaid Parade. I was showing off a bit, swerving back and forth, and one of the front tires popped right off. So Tannus sent me back, and he took those off and changed out the pegs for me free of charge, and I haven't had a problem with those since. I've had one other issue with them, which I think is very strange. While I was on my 400-mile bike tour of the Erie Canal, this happened. So there's a strip of rubber that kind of came off the tire all the way around. If you could see, check it out, it's all the way around. I don't know how it happened. It just kind of got sheared off while I was on the Erie Canal Trail. Having that strip of rubber sheared off hasn't seemed to affect the performance at all. It still rides really well. I've seen a lot of reviews where it says that the Tannus tires slow you down. I can't attest to that, because not long after I got them on, my derailleur was damaged. So I was pushing really hard, much harder than I should have been pushing for a long time. And now that I've got the derailleur fixed, and that's not an issue, I don't recall it ever being this easy to pedal with standard tires. I mean, I'm sure it was probably a little bit easier, but I can't tell you with 100% certainty how much more drag the Tannus tires have than say the Marathon Pluses that I was running before. I'm sure there is some, but for a trike where you're not looking for speed, you're just looking for comfort and distance, I think it's negligible. What I like about these is I hit some really rough terrain on the Erie Canal Trail. Really rough terrain. And I didn't have a single issue with them. I didn't have to worry about a flat tire. Didn't have to worry about changing a tube or airing the tires up. Just get up and go. And you can go over the roughest terrain, and I didn't have to worry about it. So I like that. So, I mean, they're by no means perfect. Like I said, there's probably a little bit of drag. In fact, I mean, I can't tell you how much drag there is because of the issue I have with the derailleur, but there definitely is a little more drag than with pneumatic tires. That's a given. But I don't think it's that much, and for what you're getting in return, the peace of mind of knowing that you're never going to have to change your tire out on the road. If you're like me, if you're disabled and you have a bike this heavy that you can't just easily flip over and do the work on, that peace of mind is worth it. What I am most impressed by isn't the tires themselves. I mean, the tires do need a little bit of work. They're relatively new when it comes to the market of bike tires. They're relatively new. They've been making them for a while, but compared to other tires, you know, obviously they're relatively new. And they've come out with improvement after improvement after improvement. And they're probably not as good as far as rolling resistance as standard tire yet. I think eventually they probably will be. I hope they will be. But what I really, really like about Tannus tires, and it's something that just seems to be lacking in the world of bikes today, especially things when you order them online, is the customer service. The customer service for Tannus tires is absolutely amazing. When the rear tire came off on my bike trip with my wife, it was on a weekend, and I admit I was angry when it happened, and I called and I left an angry voicemail. And I probably shouldn't have, but I did. But I called back the next Monday, and I spoke to the guy who I left the voicemail for. His name is Sterling, and nice as could be, very helpful. He is the one that did the groundwork, found the place that had the tires in stock when the tire was flat. He was the guy that he was the point guy for every issue I had. I think he's their main customer service guy. And nice as could be, understanding as could be, and he got the issue fixed. And a little later, when I realized that the derailleur had some serious damage and just bending it back wasn't going to fix it, I called. And I honestly, after dealing with other bike companies that have damaged my bike from their products, I was expecting a fight. And not only was there not a fight, before I could even get it out, I just described what happened, and he offered to replace the derailleur. He offered to send me a new derailleur. He said, just tell me what kind of derailleur you have on your bike and we'll get one right out to you. And I was in absolute shock. I was expecting to have a fight on my hands, and it was the complete reverse. It was the complete opposite. So their customer service is amazing. Beyond that, so I told them what I had. I had the SRAM 10-speed, and which one I had. And turns out the same model, they make multiples. The derailleur arm that comes in multiple lengths, and the trike has a long one. And they sent me a standard one. So I called him back and let him know that it was a standard one, and I needed a long one. And he's like, he even took the blame for that, even though I never told him that it was a long one, because at the time I didn't know there was a difference. So, I mean, really, it was kind of my fault, but he's like, yeah, I should have known. It's a trike. Trikes have to have the long one. So he sent me out another one. And he said that he might send me a return label to have me send the other one back, which I was fine with, but he never did. So now I have 2 derailleurs. Unfortunately, they didn't come until after my trip. So while I was on my trip, I had this derailleur thoroughly bent back, and I'm still using it. I'm going to swap it out after winter is over, before I really start riding heavy. But I'm going to keep this one as a spare, as a backup, because you know, it never hurts, and it's still riding well. But you know, this company and their customer service is just outrageous in a good way. When so many companies out there, they give you a hard time, they try to turn things around and make it your fault, and they don't want to take responsibility for it. Tannus took responsibility for things that they really probably didn't even have to, but you know, they're that kind of company, and I was shocked. So I mean, I'm happy with them. I'm gonna keep them on my bike. I've been trying to sell my Django, but now I'm starting to think that I'm gonna keep it, and when I swap out the motor for this, I'm gonna put this motor on the Django for small local commutes. And I might even put Tannus tires on that. In fact, I know I will on the back, because this wheel has a Tannus tire on, and getting it off, swapping it out, is not easily feasible. So I'm just going to get a new one for the for whatever wheel I put back there, a new Tannus tire. But I'm a fan. I am definitely a fan of this company, and I don't say that often. I mean, there are companies out there that have given me a hard time when their products have malfunctioned, when they damaged the bike, when they've sent me the wrong product and I just wanted them to fix it. But Tannus, they went above and beyond, and that's my review. They're solid. I haven't had any real problems once they were installed with the right peg. And but that's the thing, you've got to make sure they're installed with the right pegs. I think the main issue with the rear wheel is that the Copenhagen wheel uses an odd shape wheel. It doesn't have a large lip. So even though the caliper I used showed one measurement, I actually needed a peg that was for a wheel the size up. And once I had those pegs on, it fixed the issue. I haven't had an issue with it since. So that's my review of the Tannus tires. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. And I hope you give them a chance, because this company, you know, they're still kind of in the experimental phase, but they're going to need people to help them with the experimental. They need customers, otherwise they're going to, you know, not sell enough, and they're never going to perfect it. And can you imagine when these things are absolutely perfected and they're as good as pneumatic tires, and you got no more rolling resistance, maybe even less, and you're riding along and you never have to worry about a flat tire? That would just be heaven, right? So yeah, give this company your support, because they go out of their way to support their customers. And the product is pretty good too. I mean, it could be better, and they're working on making it better. Yeah, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. As always, like, follow, share, and subscribe. And until next time, have a great day.